My name is Jeff Morgan. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I want to address something regarding creating a record in court and also recording interactions that you have, whether it's with your attorneys, whether it's with the judges, whatever it may be. Sometimes people are afraid to do this stuff. They're like, well, we can't do this. It might be illegal. We're not allowed to record our judges. We're not allowed to record our hearings. You go into a court, and in some cases, it's been so extreme that a judge is in the determining whether your son is going to be castrated or whether your daughter is going to be having a mastectomy, and you really are concerned about whether you wear a wire or whether you record them or whatever. Seriously, this is a court. It's not a court of justice. This is a court of abuse. You cannot change a boy into a girl. You cannot change a girl into a boy. You can mutilate a boy and you can mutilate a girl, pretending you're changing them into somebody else. That's all that's going on here. This is child abuse. This is something that never should be allowed by our courts, but it's something that's happening more and more in our courts. And we have attorneys that are actually arguing for this. Jessica Janicek from Southlake, the Kuntz Fuller law firm. She has been the one who's been fighting for Ann Georgelas so that Ann Georgelas can mutilate her son, a son that is not even her biological son, but is a son belonging to Mr. Jeff Younger. We have Mary Brown down there. Mary Brown, who says, well, I'm not here to cut off boys' penises, but she's allowing this stuff to take place. She knows that if she lets Ann Georgelas go to California, where I believe she already may be right now, the California is going to take jurisdiction, and they have laws over there that they will allow a parent to mutilate a child. And in situations like that, you're going to tell me, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to record in court because it might be illegal. Do you not see what they're doing? They're taking your kids. They're kidnapping your kids. They're saying that the kids don't belong to you. I don't care if you've gone through a divorce or whatever it is. You are still the father or the mother of your children. And we've talked with people that are going through this in other states, and they're saying, well, I don't know if I can record. Are you serious? You've got to record. Perhaps it's just a sense of fear. I don't know what it is, but you've got to stand up against it. And I will tell you one thing, that you will never be all that you can be if you are fearful of these judges and of the attorneys. And I'm not saying that you should be reckless with them, but the attorneys and judges also have constraints upon them, and we need to be able to challenge them and push them. These family law attorneys, many of them, they're not really good attorneys. A lot of attorneys look at the family law profession as being the bottom of the barrel, the scum suckers in a sense, the bottom dwellers. That's how bad that they are. They don't have a lot of respect among many of the attorneys. And they certainly don't have a lot of respect among the people that I hang with, that I know. We know that they will do whatever they can to abuse a family, to destroy a child, and then claim to be acting in that child's best interest. So one of the things I'm going to say is this. This right here, it's just a very small recorder. This is an H1N. You can find it on Google. Go to H1N, look it up. I think it costs between $99, $110. Just had it on sale recently. Very easy recording device to use. There's an SD card in it. The SD card comes in here. It's so easy to use. You just turn this thing on, and then once it comes on, in fact, I'll do it right now. I'm just turning it on. You'll see that the red light's going. It's going to take a few moments before it's ready to record. As you're talking with somebody, whether you're in the courtroom or whatever, you just hit the red button, and right now it is recording. It's recording everything that I'm saying. And when you're talking with your attorneys on the phone, when you're talking to judges, when you're going to a Zoom meeting, you need to have one of these things. You need to be able to record this so that you are recording the interaction. Because if you don't record it, it's forever lost. Well, they might be mad at me. Do you not understand? They're stealing your kids from you. They're kidnapping your kids from you. They're mutilating your kids in front of you. They're doing all of this stuff, supposedly in the name of the law, in the name of justice. And right now, currently in Texas anyway, our legislators have been too weak to do anything about this. So you have to fight back. And if you're a man in particular, you are supposed to be the protector and defender of your family. You need to get a backbone, grow up, and as the Bible says, act like men and be strong. When it comes down to some of the stuff that we've had to face, trust me, every single one of us has faced our fears. I remember the first time that I faced my fear, well, not the first time, but one of the times that I faced the fear, when I was in front of a Republican club in Rockwall, Texas. The Attorney General of the state of Texas was there. Usually I would go to the events and I would have my video recorder. Well, they wouldn't let me videotape anything. And the way that it worked out is they had power on either side of the Attorney General. I'm sure it was to protect him, so that nobody would do anything crazy. But at the same time, it did cause some intimidation. And I asked a question that had nothing to do with me, but I felt like because I'd heard from other people, it was a question that I needed to ask. And I kept on thinking, dear God, why do I have to do this? Why is it up to me right now? Quite simply because there was nobody else there. And one of the things I will say is this: as scared as I was at the time, and I can tell you my stomach was churning and everything else, I still feared God more, and I still went ahead and did it. And it's amazing how even in the midst of this fear, when you start to step forward, the fear will be taken away from you in many, many instances. And as one person told me a long time ago, more than one person actually, they've said, big doors swing on small hinges. And that was one of those times that a door opened up for me, because when it came down time, I pushed on the door, and that door, it swung on small hinges, but that was something that really helped me to say, I've got to get over my fear. I've got to keep pressing forward. You might be the only person out there who's doing this, but you need to be the person. So what's going to be the worst that's going to happen to you? Suppose that your fears come to pass. All the fears that are going to happen to you. Suppose all the worst things that are going to happen to you come to pass. So, is it going to kill you? I mean, just because you're going to be ridiculed? Because people are going to laugh at you and scoff at you and mock at you and call you this and call you that? Really? You get used to it. You start to develop a skin, but you have to go forward with it. And the reality is that if you are afraid every time and don't do something because of fear, you will never be the person you are meant to be. And you will never make the changes in our culture that our culture needs to have. We have mouths. Why is that? So that we can teach, so that we can rebuke, so that we can provide wisdom, encouragement, whatever it may be. But when our leaders are going astray, we need to use our mouth and speak to them about their evil and do and make suggestions on how to fix stuff. We have eyes so that we can see. And it's not just to see righteousness, but it's to see evil. And then when we see the evil, we can address it through our mouths. We have ears to hear. We have a mind to think. And for men in particular, you also have a backbone. We aren't jellyfish. We have a backbone. Use it. I think about the time in the Old Testament when a message was sent to Nehemiah, and he realized that it was sent just to make him afraid. And at one point in time, he said, should a man such as I flee? I don't know who you are right now. I can only tell you what I've faced personally. I do not consider myself to be the bravest of men or the boldest of men, but I do fear God. And there are times that you say, I've got to do what's right, whatever happens. And, there's many instances in our lives when we've done that. In basic training, in the military, it was the first time that I ever had people shooting live bullets at me. And we were at a range, and the bullets were flying over top of me, and I thought, there's no way I'm standing up in this. And you were not supposed to stand up to begin with, but there was no way I was going to stand up. I was crawling as low as the earthworm beside me. I was not going to get shot. But it was a fear that they wanted us to face, and that we could still advance even in spite of that fear. There are many times that you'll be facing fears, and all I can say is you just have to face them head on. Fear is some of the things that you're going to face all the time, but if you want to make changes in these courts, if you want to make changes in our legislature, if you want to see our society become a just and righteous society, if you want to see these people quit abusing our children, you had better get a backbone. You had better walk through your fear. I'm not saying get rid of it. I don't know if you can get rid of it, but you walk through it. You take the next step. A lot of times people have asked me how I've done certain things, because again, I don't consider myself to be some of these fearless people, but all I just do is say, you walk through the door that God has put in front of you. I will say something else as well. When it comes down to our courts, remember the people on the other side, whether they be attorneys, whether they be judges, whatever, these people are there to make you afraid of them. They're there in part to have you like in awe of them. They are human beings. They put on their clothes the same way that you do. There are many times that actually the people that are in the courtroom are smarter than these people, that they are more righteous than these people, that they're better persuaded, have better arguments, that they could stand up to them, and they should stand up to them and call them out for the evil that they've done. But the thing is that if you're afraid and if you do nothing, evil will increase. As one person said, all it takes for evil to exist in our society and to grow is for good men to do nothing. If you're a man out there, I'm going to tell you, get a backbone, stand up. If you're a woman out there, same thing. You can do the same thing. You can support your husband. You can support your father. You can support your brother or your son or whoever it may be. But we've got to stand up against this evil. And like I said, for me, I've got this thing right here, and I'm not afraid to turn it on, to record people so that you can use their words against them. And if you're afraid, say, well, you know what, if I put this out there, they're going to say that I've done this. You can always send it to other people. When you go into courts in groups. Have 5 or 6 of you there. I know I've been searched by people very, very vigorously because they thought I was recording something, and while they're searching me, other people are walking on in with their own recording device. I was the person that they were looking at. I got the recording somehow. I don't know how it happened, but that's why they were searching me. But go in there, have a strategy. We have got to be fearless as far as confronting this evil in our anti-family courts, this evil among the divorce attorneys, this evil among the people that lobby. Can you believe people lobby? People lobbied so that we can have divorce, so that they can destroy families, and we're afraid of them? Are you serious? People lobby so that they can take your kids and traffic your kids, so they can kick you out of your kids' life. Strangers make decisions about what's in the best interest of your children, and you're afraid? For crying out loud, just get a backbone. And again, I speak this as the person who just says, I don't consider myself to be the bravest of person, but you've got to do what's right. One other example from the military, I remember that I'm not a person who does a lot of rappelling or anything like that, but I went to a rappelling school, had won a contest. They sent me down there as one of these, attaboys, sort of thing. And again, I'm doing this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm taking my time. I'm trying to be very cautious with the rappelling. Well, then we had a contest. It was the contest of the very last day, 4 teams. And the first person that got to the 300-foot cliff was the first person down. Well, I was the first person there, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to psych myself up and stuff like that. The sergeant that was there had no mercy. Hooked me up, get going. And, so you're doing it. And after I was done, I was like, okay, that wasn't so bad. I'm not going to try to do it right now. But the thing is that face your fear, run through it. And if you are facing these people in courts, you have to look at whatever techniques that you need to create your record. You do whatever you need to do. If you have no record, you cannot be heard. If you have to take a camera in with you, if you take a recording device, if you have to get other people in there, whatever you need to do, you create the record, and then you publish it. See, these courts, they have their courts and they have their own rules, and they're designed to, in part, they say that's to create justice and law and stuff like that. Anybody who's been inside of these courts, especially the family courts, know that that's not true. They're designed to, they don't address evil. They often allow evil to flourish. I've seen many times that I've been in courts that I've seen the evil person seems to win. I've been in over 150 hearings over the last couple of years, either virtually or in person. And again and again and again, I've seen it. And if you think you're going to be the exception, I think you better prepare yourself. You probably won't be the exception. So you need to look at the courts in a way, respect them, whatever you need to do, but look at them as you being your enemy. The enemy is in your camp. The enemy is in your house. The enemy is trying to take your children. If somebody came to your door and said, give me your children, hand over your children, would you do it? No, you'd fight them to the death. And just because we're in these courts and they think that they can take our children, that they can castrate our children, that they can cut off their breasts, that they can give them to people that sexually molest them and abuse them, and we're going to be silent because we're afraid to do something wrong, all I can say is that you need to get a spine and to go forward with it. And if it's difficult, and I know it's difficult, get other people to go with you. Because usually when you're together in a group, one person can encourage another person. You're not going to all run at the same time. And we are going to have to be more fearless, or at least go through our fears if we are going to take down this anti-family court system, this family destruction industry. We have to catch them on record. We have to create a record. We have to watch with our emails to them. Keep a record. When you call them, use your recording device. Put it on speakerphone. Write down your notes while you're recording. Get their voice, get your voice. Do anything that you need to do. These people think that they are going to win because you're not going to say anything. We need to be loud. That's basically all I want to say right now. I've been very fortunate to be around people that have been perhaps more courageous than I have, and some of it's rubbed off on me. but get together with other people. There are many people, you can join them. And even if you can't do what some of these other people are doing in court, do something. One of the things that when I was working on the Santorum campaign in 2012, when he lost the race and then he was speaking at various places and people would ask him, well, Rick, what can we do? What can we do to change our society? And he just said, I don't know, but do something. And that's where I started. I said, okay, I don't know what I can do, but I can do something. And I liked that. It was a very low bar. Doing nothing is not an option. Quitting is not an option. Retreating is not an option. Do something. If you can't move forward, at least lay down so that they don't run over you further. But try to do something. I don't care if it's writing a letter. I don't care if it's making a phone call. I don't care if it's taking a link that somebody shares and sharing it on your Facebook or social media, whatever it is. Do something. We are not going to win this battle if we do this as individuals. We are going to have to unite. And again, I don't care who gets the credit for this stuff. My intent is to take down the system. As long as the system is still in place, whether it be CPS, whether it be the anti-family courts, whether it be the family destruction industry, that is one of the goals that's in my mind. And I look at it quite honestly as a ministry to God, because this is a battle between good and evil. And the evil is being represented by the divorce attorneys, by the divorce lobby group, by the anti-family destruction industry. We are here fighting for our kids, for our grandkids. We're fighting for the future. We are the last line of defense. You need to fight this thing as if you don't do it, who is going to do it? You are the last line of defense. So with that, that's really all I have to say. Go forward and do what you can. You've got to do something. We can't be held in captive by fear. Take a step forward, do something, and that's it. Thanks so much.